felt drained by someone's behavior or wondered why certain people always seem to bring chaos into your life? Welcome back to Real Talk with Drew. Today we'll be diving deep into understanding toxic people and the abusers. What makes them toxic, the clear signs to watch out for, and whether they can really change. Let's get started. Have you ever felt drained by someone's behavior or wondered why certain people always seem to bring chaos into your life? Welcome back to Real Talk with Jew. I am Jew, and today we are diving deep into understanding toxic people and abusers. What makes them toxic? The clear signs to watch out for, and whether they are really able to change. Let's dive in. In this video, I will break down exactly what toxic behavior looks like, explain the difference between toxic traits and a toxic personality in simple terms, and reveal why, in my experience, toxic people really change. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by criticism, manipulation, or control from someone close to you, stay tuned. I am about to share insights that could protect your energy and well being. First and foremost, let's understand what makes a person toxic. Toxic people constantly display negative behaviors that hurt others emotionally, mentally, and even physically. Today, I'll explain these behaviors in detail, sharing real life experiences as examples, and help you understand how to spot them, whether in a relationship, a friendship, or any other connection. The first one we will be looking at is what makes a toxic person. Toxic people show constant negative traits that harms others around them. Here are some of the common behaviors and characteristic of what makes someone toxic. First is constant negativity. If someone is always focused on the worst in every situation, for example, if something good happens, they may immediately pour out what could or point out what could have gone wrong or what could go wrong or criticize it. An example of this is, imagine you're sharing good news with someone close to you or a person, and the person immediately says, "Ah, that won't last. Like your good news won't last, or it's just a lucky shot." You know, something like that. All right. Another point is lack of empathy. Mm? They have difficulties understanding or caring about how others feel. This means that toxic people may dismiss your emotions or even make you feel your pain is worthless. An example of this is when you're upset about a setback or something, they might just say, get over it, as if it doesn't matter. You're wasting my time, you know. Everyone's problem, um, they just dismiss it without support. Another one is self centeredness. The toxic people are self centered. They only get involved with things that can benefit them. Everything should revolve around them. That's their own. An example is in a project or in a group project, a toxic person might just want to dish out their own ideas, only theirs alone, and not want to listen to any other person's idea. Another point is a toxic person um, manipulates people. They twist facts and situations to serve their interests, often making you doubt your memory or perception. An example of this is they might recount an argument in a way that it blames only you entirely, even if both of you contributed to the conflict. All right. And everything they will remember is how you alone caused the whole problem. They are controlling and dominating. Toxic people, they control everybody. They want to control everything around them, decisions, actions, thoughts, and every other thing. All right. An example of this is you have a friend or a partner who insists on knowing where you are at all times and make decisions for you rather than supporting your decisions, or they don't want you to be independent. Okay. A toxic person is always jealous and envious. These are the traits, another trait of a toxic person. Always jealous and envious. They may become very jealous of your success, even when they're very close to you, or your happiness, and try to dismiss or diminish it. An example of this is when you are achieving goals or personal goals or a milestone, they might play it down to suggest that you're just being lucky and it is not special. All right. Another point is a toxic person has excessive criticism and name calling. You know, they can call you different type of name when they're criticizing you, and this is to hurt you. All right. They use hurtful language on you, try to diminish your self worth. And an example of this is that constant name calling, like stupid, foolish, worthless, and all that. They would tell you that you make mistakes rather than, offer you constructive criticism and all that. They would just lash out words that are very hurtful to you. And another point is they never take responsibility for their actions. Toxic personality, a toxic person never takes responsibility for their action. They blame it all on you, okay, or people. What an example of this is, imagine that you are doing a group project and it fails, it's on you. They're never responsible for it. All right. Another form of manipulation is gaslighting. A toxic person manipulates and gaslights you. All right. An example of this is telling you that what you remember from the events that happened to both of us is not what you remember. It's another story entirely. And the way they would craft the story, you will start feeling like you made a lot of things up in your head and they weren't true. All right, so these are the behaviors, um, and when they persist from and form a pattern, it is very hard to break and can deeply impact your emotions if you're around a toxic personality. Now let's look into the difference between toxic traits and a toxic personality. It's important to understand that everyone can have a bad day and show a few negative behaviors. It happens. Okay. This is a toxic trait. These are toxic traits. Okay. However, when these behaviors are now constant and defines how a person interacts with every other person, that's when we'll talk about a toxic personality. So, toxic trait simply means um, occasional behavior that might be hurtful but doesn't define the whole person. Okay, an example of a toxic trait is a coworker might snap at you when stressed. I do that a lot too. When I'm stressed, I might snap, but they are generally kind and supportive. All right. So it's different from a toxic personality. A toxic personality simply means that this is when the negative behavior is regular part of it's a regular part of who this person is. It's constant, all right, and it affects all their relationship. An example of this is the same coworker, as an example, if they always belittle others, manipulate conversations, and never admit faults at all. Okay, that is a toxic personality. I hope the difference is clear now. Even a single trait can be harmful if it becomes part of a pattern. But a toxic personality means these negative behaviors are deeply rooted and are unlikely, there's unlikely no um, room for change, all right, without personal intervention or maybe therapy or healing process. Can a toxic person change? Hmm. That question I've been asked several times. Now, the big question is a toxic person able to change? Here is my take on this. This is my personal take on this, okay? Um, the problem is there are things that might help a toxic person change, all right? And lack of self awareness is one thing that will not help a person change. Oftenly, these individuals are not, they don't believe that they are doing anything wrong. With them, they see behaviors the behaviors that they are displaying as normal and justified. So they have little motivation to change. So if you say a toxic person can't change, if they don't see a problem in anything that they are doing, how would they change? My partner literally was controlling and dismissive of my person, my whole being, and it was hurtful. But he didn't see anything wrong with what he was doing, so it was even difficult to explain to him what he was doing, not to talk about changing him. All right. So another thing is selfishness. This selfishness is in their DNA. It's a pattern. Toxic people often prioritize their own needs over others, and these help build their identity that they've become over time. All right. For them, these actions serves their selfish purposes. So everything they do is actually for their selfish purpose. They blame you, they undermine you, and everything just to make themselves feel better. An example of this is, imagine that you have a partner that is constantly shifting blame to you. Okay, because that happened to me, all right? It constantly shifts blame to you, not acknowledging what he does to you or what she does to you, just constantly making you feel that everything that happened is your own fault. How do you make this partner change? Because that's who they are. Then they are resistant to change. Even if a toxic person does consider change, it requires a deep, honest conversation and opening up, looking into themselves with professional help, like therapy, to look into themselves and really accept that they are toxic. However, many toxic individuals resist therapy. They don't want to open up because they refuse to admit that they have a problem. They might only seek help when forced by circumstances, but without a genuine desire to change, they often revert to their old ways as soon as the pressure is down. I experienced that too when the people were telling me, go back, he has changed and all that. No, it didn't change. I knew that. In my own experience, a toxic person unwillingness to accept their own harmful behavior is a major barrier to change. This um this will be difficult. It's like a difficult barrier that would make change very difficult for them. All right. So they need to be aware or accept the awareness that, okay, yes, I am bad and I need personal growth to change. If a toxic person wants to change, it is extreme for them to open up. Everything concerning them is extreme. So they will not want to change. My own personal story was the fact that when I left my relationship, my partner started acting in different ways to make people feel that they he has changed, but he didn't actually change. He didn't change at all. But he made people feel like he has changed and I am a different person. I've stopped doing this, that. And maybe he actually lived that way for a period of time and people actually experienced it. But I lived with him for years. And with the gifts that I have been given to actually read body language and see your expressions and know what you're thinking inside your mind. Yeah, it's a gift. Okay, I knew that was false. When you live with someone for years, you could tell when the person is really sorry just by the look in their eyes. All right, so I didn't see the genuineness of the change, so I didn't opt for it because that would have been the greatest mistake of my life. And it wasn't up to a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and mm, drama started again. The basketball started again, and this time because I was now healing and I was not understanding what my worth was and what I deserve, I was able to stand firm and put boundaries. Okay, so definitely I feel like it is very difficult to get a toxic person to change because they don't even think that what they're doing is wrong. They don't feel like they have a problem. They don't see anything that they do as. "Mm-mm." In fact, there was a day my ex came to my house, and he was like, "Why are you overreacting? Why are you overreacting? You're overreacting. You are doing this thing too much. What did I do that you are overreacting? By now, it have gone down now. How about that stopped by now? Now that I'm overreacting. What did you even do that is that bad?" And in my mind, I was like, Jesus. I was like, how? How do you think that getting married to someone, working hard with the person, investing your whole time, your being, everything into this person, building a multimillionaire business with this person, having kids, putting everything you know into this person, and you don't that's the stupidity. I didn't even think that okay, partners are meant to have different things, separate accounts, and no, it was just one way. And the person decided that you are not good enough to eat from the fruit of your labor. And that's not where it ended. A lot of things kept going on. There was disrespect, there was manipulation, there was physical abuse, there was emotional abuse, there was gaslighting, there were lies, there were cheating. Everything happened. And this person is saying, "What did I do that is making you react like this?" And this is barely a few months out. Wow. So that's an example for why I feel like it is very, very difficult for a toxic person to change. But there is hope for change though. If they realize that everything they do is toxic, they come to that point where they know, okay, fine, this is who I am. I am a toxic person and I have all these toxic traits and I am ready to change and they need intervention. They open up for an intervention. Toxic people don't have conversations. Mm-mm. When you have to want to, when you want to have serious conversations, deep conversations with them, they run. They don't want to open up because they don't get vulnerable with you. If they are vulnerable with you, my darling, it's on their own terms and it's for their own selfish reasons. So that's my own opinion on toxic people. If this video has resonated with you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to someone that you feel needs to hear this video or that you know needs to hear this video. Don't forget, we are here to have conversations like this on Real Talk with you, and our conversations is to build a better and a brighter future for us all, and a good relationship bond and help us heal from where we have been broken. We're in this together. One love, and bye for now. See you in my next video.